Have you ever felt paralyzed by the thought of failing? Maybe it was a career opportunity you let slip away, a creative project you never started, or even a personal goal you abandoned before trying. The fear of failure is a powerful force. It feeds on uncertainty, grows in self-doubt, and keeps us from taking risks that could lead to growth and success. But here's the truth: failure itself isn't the real enemy. The problem lies in how we perceive it. What if failure was seen not as an end, but as part of the process? What if you could reframe your fear, take bold steps forward, and handle the outcomes, good or bad, with strength and resilience? This is where Stoicism offers profound guidance. Rooted in ancient wisdom from philosophers like Epictetus, Stoicism provides practical tools for navigating life's uncertainties. It teaches us to focus on what truly matters, embrace discomfort, and act with courage, even in the face of fear. In this video, we'll explore 10 Stoic principles that will help you overcome the fear of failure. These aren't abstract ideas, they're practical strategies you can start using today. By the end, you'll feel equipped to turn fear into fuel and take meaningful action toward your goals. Let's begin with the first principle: focusing on what you can control. 1. Focus on what you can control. The first Stoic principle is both simple and transformative: focus on what you can control. At the heart of many fears lies an obsession with outcomes, things that ultimately we have no direct power over. Will people approve of your work? Will your effort lead to success? These are questions outside your control, and worrying about them only fuels anxiety. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to redirect our energy toward what is within our control: our actions, decisions, and mindset. This shift in perspective not only reduces fear but also empowers you to take meaningful steps forward, regardless of the result. For example, imagine you're preparing for an important job interview. It's natural to feel nervous about how the interviewer will perceive you, but their decision is beyond your influence. What you can control, however, is how well you prepare, researching the company, practicing common questions, and presenting yourself confidently. By focusing on these actionable steps, you can approach the situation with clarity and purpose, knowing you've done your best. This principle is liberating because it reminds you that your worth isn't tied to outcomes. When you focus on effort over results, you free yourself from the grip of fear and create space for growth. Now that we've established the importance of control, let's explore a related principle: detaching from external validation. 2. Detach from external validation. One of the greatest sources of fear is the need for approval. We often measure success by how others perceive us: friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers on social media. When external validation becomes the yardstick for our self-worth, the fear of failing in their eyes can be overwhelming. Stoicism challenges this mindset by reminding us that our value isn't determined by others. Instead, it's rooted in how we live according to our principles and make progress toward our goals. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Similarly, it's not what others think of you, but how you view yourself that truly defines success. For instance, consider an artist hesitant to share their work out of fear of criticism. By seeking validation, they might avoid releasing their art altogether, trapped by the possibility of negative feedback. But if they shift their perspective, recognizing that the act of creation itself is valuable, they can detach from external opinions and focus on their growth as an artist. This detachment doesn't mean ignoring feedback altogether. Instead, it means learning to separate constructive criticism from harmful judgment, using the former to improve without letting it define you. Once you free yourself from the need to please others, the fear of failure begins to loosen its grip. Now let's dive into the third principle: redefining failure itself. 3. Redefine failure. What if failure wasn't something to fear but something to embrace? The way we define failure shapes how we respond to it. Many see it as the opposite of success, a sign of weakness or inadequacy. But Stoicism offers a different view. Failure isn't the end, it's feedback. It's a step in the process of learning, growing, and ultimately succeeding. When you redefine failure, it loses its power to paralyze you. Instead of seeing it as a personal flaw, view it as an opportunity to refine your approach. Every great achievement in history is built on a foundation of failed attempts. Thomas Edison famously said of his efforts to invent the light bulb, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Imagine you've pitched a business idea that gets rejected. At first, it feels like a dead end. But by reframing the experience, you realize it's not failure. It's valuable insight into what needs improvement. With this perspective, you can revise your plan, address its weaknesses, and try again with a stronger foundation. The key is to shift your mindset from avoiding failure to embracing it as a natural part of growth. When you no longer fear it, you free yourself to take risks and chase opportunities. Now that we've redefined failure, let's look at a practical tool to manage fear: the power of negative visualization. 4. Practice negative visualization. Fear of failure often grows when we imagine vague, overwhelming worst-case scenarios. But what if, instead of avoiding those thoughts, you deliberately confronted them? This is the essence of negative visualization, a Stoic technique that involves envisioning potential setbacks in detail, not to dwell on them, but to demystify and prepare for them. By picturing the worst that could happen, you realize two things. First, the feared outcome is rarely as catastrophic as it feels in your mind. Second, you're more capable of handling adversity than you might think. Negative visualization transforms fear into clarity, replacing paralyzing what-ifs with a calm sense of readiness. For example, imagine you're nervous about giving a presentation at work. Instead of trying to suppress your fears, visualize the worst: stumbling over your words, forgetting a key point, or facing a tough question from the audience. Then ask yourself, what would I do in that situation? Perhaps you'd pause, take a deep breath, and calmly correct yourself. With this mental rehearsal, the fear becomes less intimidating because you've already thought through how to manage it. This practice isn't about expecting failure, it's about building resilience. When you face challenges with a prepared mind, fear loses its edge. Now that we've tackled the power of visualization, let's explore how taking small, consistent steps can help you move forward with confidence. 5. Take small, consistent steps. Big goals often feel overwhelming, especially when the fear of failure looms large. The idea of achieving something monumental, starting a business, mastering a skill, or pursuing a passion, can seem unattainable when viewed as one massive leap. That's why Stoicism emphasizes breaking down daunting challenges into small, consistent steps. By focusing on incremental progress, you reduce the psychological weight of the task and build momentum. Each small action is a victory in itself, bringing you closer to your goal without feeling paralyzed by its magnitude. This approach fosters discipline, which the Stoics regarded as essential for success. For instance, imagine you want to write a book but feel intimidated by the sheer volume of work it requires. Instead of fixating on the final product, commit to writing just 1 page a day. In a month, you'll have 30 pages. In 6 months, a substantial manuscript. Each step reinforces your belief in your ability to complete the task, and the fear of failing fades into the background. The beauty of this principle lies in its simplicity. Success is built one action at a time. By consistently showing up and doing the work, you make steady progress no matter how small. Now that we've covered the importance of small steps, let's discuss the transformative power of embracing discomfort. 6. Embrace discomfort. One of the most powerful Stoic principles is the idea that growth comes through discomfort. It's easy to want to avoid anything that feels challenging or unpleasant, but Stoicism teaches us to embrace discomfort as an essential part of progress. The more we resist difficult experiences, the more we allow fear to control us. But when we actively face discomfort, we strengthen our ability to handle adversity and expand our comfort zones. The Stoics believed that hardship is an inevitable part of life, and rather than running from it, we should lean into it with courage. Every time you push yourself outside your comfort zone, you build resilience and gain confidence in your ability to handle life's challenges. For example, if you're afraid of public speaking, the natural instinct might be to avoid it altogether. But by embracing the discomfort and volunteering to speak at a meeting or event, you start to desensitize yourself to the fear. Over time, what once felt like an insurmountable challenge becomes a skill you can master. Embracing discomfort isn't about seeking out pain for the sake of it. It's about recognizing that difficult moments are opportunities for growth. When you face these challenges head-on, you develop the strength and courage needed to keep moving forward. Now that we've explored the power of discomfort, let's shift our focus to remembering the bigger picture. The fact that failure is just one small moment in your larger journey. 7. Remember the bigger picture. When facing fear and failure, it's easy to get caught up in the moment, believing that one misstep will define your entire life. This narrow view can amplify the fear of failure, making the consequences seem far more significant than they truly are. The Stoics, however, remind us to take a step back and view challenges in the broader context of our entire lives. Epictetus often emphasized that setbacks are just fleeting moments in the grand scope of time. If you zoom out and look at your life as a whole, you'll see that a single failure, no matter how painful in the moment, doesn't define you. Life is made up of many chapters, and each one has its ups and downs. What matters most is how you continue to move forward. For instance, think about the careers of well-known innovators like Steve Jobs or Walt Disney. Both faced significant failures. Jobs was once ousted from the company he founded, and Disney's first animation studio went bankrupt. Yet they didn't let those failures derail them. Instead, they kept their focus on the bigger picture, using their setbacks as fuel for future success. By remembering the bigger picture, you can reduce the emotional weight of any single failure. You recognize that no single failure is the end of the story, it's just a part of a much larger journey. This perspective helps diminish the fear of failure and allows you to keep moving forward with purpose. Now that we've framed failure in the broader context of life, let's turn our attention to staying present, focusing on the moment rather than worrying about what might happen in the future. 8. Stay present. One of the most powerful tools for overcoming the fear of failure is the ability to stay present in the moment. Fear often arises from our tendency to worry about the future, what could go wrong, what the consequences might be, and how things will turn out. This constant worrying pulls us away from the here and now, where we can actually take action. Stoicism teaches that the present moment is all we truly control. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. What's important is what you do right now." For example, imagine you're preparing for an important meeting. Instead of getting overwhelmed by the potential outcomes, whether you'll impress your boss, whether your proposal will succeed, or whether you'll fail, focus on what you can do in this very moment. Prepare your material, breathe deeply, and focus on delivering your best. When you concentrate on the present, you free yourself from the grip of fear. Staying present allows you to act with clarity and purpose, reducing the noise of hypothetical worries. When you focus on the task at hand, you take control of your actions, which ultimately shapes the outcomes. Now that we've explored the power of staying present, let's move on to a crucial principle: accepting imperfection. 9. Accept imperfection. One of the most common sources of fear and anxiety around failure is the desire for perfection. We often think that we must perform flawlessly to avoid failure, but Stoicism teaches us that perfection is not only unrealistic, but also irrelevant to the process of growth. The Stoics believed that striving for excellence is important, but accepting that imperfection is part of the human experience is just as crucial. When we aim for perfection, we set ourselves up for frustration and fear. The truth is, no one is perfect. Mistakes are inevitable, and failure is a natural part of the journey. Epictetus argued that the ideal way to live is not by seeking perfection, but by embracing our flaws and working through them with perseverance and integrity. Consider a student preparing for an exam. If they're constantly focused on getting a perfect score, the fear of making even a small mistake can be paralyzing. But if they accept that mistakes are part of the learning process, they can approach the exam with more calm and confidence, knowing that doing their best, even with imperfections, is enough. By letting go of the need to be perfect, you free yourself from the fear of making mistakes and open the door to greater creativity, growth, and progress. You'll be able to take risks, learn from your failures, and grow stronger with each experience. Now that we've discussed the importance of accepting imperfection, let's explore how practicing self-compassion can help you bounce back from failure. 10. Practice self-compassion. The final Stoic principle to overcome the fear of failure is perhaps the most important: practicing self-compassion. In a world that often demands perfection, it's easy to become your harshest critic, especially when things don't go as planned. But Stoicism teaches us that we should treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we offer to others. When you experience failure or setbacks, the natural tendency is to berate yourself, thinking you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. However, this mindset only deepens the fear and discouragement. Stoicism, on the other hand, encourages us to acknowledge our mistakes without judgment and use them as opportunities for growth. Imagine you've just failed a presentation at work. Instead of spiraling into self-doubt or self-criticism, practice self-compassion. Reflect on what you could improve, but also recognize your efforts and the courage it took to put yourself out there in the first place. Remind yourself that failure doesn't diminish your worth. It's simply part of the learning process, and you can always try again. Self-compassion isn't about excusing mistakes. It's about recognizing that you are human, that growth is a journey, and that setbacks are just stepping stones. When you treat yourself with understanding and patience, you'll find it easier to move forward with confidence, no matter what obstacles lie ahead. Conclusion. Overcoming the fear of failure doesn't happen overnight, but by applying these Stoic principles, you can begin to shift your mindset and approach life's challenges with greater courage and resilience. By focusing on what you can control, detaching from external validation, and embracing discomfort, You free yourself from the paralyzing grip of fear. When you redefine failure, practice negative visualization, and take small, consistent steps, you build a foundation for success that isn't dependent on perfection. And when you remember the bigger picture, stay present, accept imperfection, and practice self-compassion, you develop the emotional resilience to handle whatever comes your way. Remember, failure is not the enemy, it's a part of the process. With Stoicism as your guide, you can turn fear into a powerful motivator, one that propels you forward toward your goals with confidence and strength. So, the next time you face a challenge or an opportunity, remember, it's not about avoiding failure but about how you respond to it. Take the leap, embrace the process, and trust that with each step you're becoming stronger, more resilient, and more capable of overcoming whatever comes your way. That's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notifications.